everybody, it's Dr. Jo and Bear telling me a secret. And so that secret is we're going to do stretches and exercises for trochanteric hip bursitis. So let's get started. So the most common hip bursitis is trochanteric bursitis, and that's when the greater trochanter, or that bump on the side of the bone, the femur bone that comes up, has a bursa there and it gets inflamed and irritated. And so it can cause a lot of pain, it can cause you to walk differently, and then make your back hurt, make your knee hurt, and all of that stuff. So that's the most common one. There are some other bursa in your hip. These will help as well, but it's specifically for trochanteric bursitis. So with that, you want to start off stretching out the rotators in your hip, because right here, those muscles all come around in there, and a lot of them are the rotator muscles of the hip. So starting off with just a butterfly stretch, you're going to sit up as tall as you comfortably can, put your feet together, and then slowly kind of pull them close to you until you feel a big stretch in there. Once you start feeling a nice stretch, then keeping your back straight, so not rolling down, but keeping straight, just bend forward at your hips, and you're going to feel a stretch in the groin area and those rotator muscles. So just holding that stretch right there for 30 seconds. Then after the 30 seconds, relax and do that 3 times. If this is an uncomfortable position for you, or you just really can't get your feet super close because you're really tight and really hurting, you can also modify it by lying down or being in the supine position. So you're still bringing your feet together, you're still doing that butterfly position, but now you're lying down, so it's going to take a little bit of pressure off that area, but you're still going to get a good stretch, especially if you're really tight. So that one's a great one to start off with if you can't get into the full butterfly position, but if you can get into the full butterfly position, you're going to get a slightly better stretch. So the next one is just going to be a piriformis stretch. And so that's the muscle in the back there. It comes around and attaches to the area. It's another rotator type one. So it's a really good one to stretch to really help loosen up that area so you're not getting that pressure on the bursa, which often causes that inflammation or the pain if it's not caused by trauma. So with this one, if you can, again, comfortably, if I'm stretching this left side here, I'm going to bring it up and over. And the reason it's called a figure 4 stretch is because if you look down, it looks like the number 4 that your foot is making with your leg. So this one, again, is sometimes a little bit uncomfortable for people. I'm already feeling a little bit of a stretch in my hip. But if you need more of a stretch, again, keep your back straight. You want to move at your hips. You don't want to curl down now. I'm not feeling a stretch at all, even though my head is more forward. It's about bringing the hips forward. I'm coming in and I'm feeling a really good stretch underneath that buttocks area right there on the bottom. Again, holding that stretch for 30 seconds. Relax, even if you need to put it back down, shake it out for a little bit, 10 to 15 seconds, and then coming back up, doing that 3 times. If this is, again, too much, or you don't have enough rotation to get that foot all the way up, you can always start just a little bit lower, below the knee. So if I start here, I can lean forward and I might still feel a little bit of a stretch. If they're really tight, I'm going to feel a big stretch right there. So that's a way to modify it. And then slowly, a couple days later, you might be able to bring it a little bit higher, get that stretch in there, then bring it a little closer to the knee, get that stretch in there, and then eventually with the stretching, hopefully it'll loosen up enough that you can get the ankle and the foot above the knee, because then that's going to get you that nice big stretch in there. So after you get the stretching in, then you're going to lie down and get into the bridge position. So with the bridge position, you're just going to prop your knees up. You want your feet and your knees to be in alignment with your hips, so not too far apart. Usually people say 2 fists in between your knees. That's a great distance if you want to kind of check it out. With bridging, you want to go slow and controlled. And I like to tell my patients, just kind of go one segment at a time. You don't have to stop at each segment of your back, but imagine that you're rolling slowly up. So you're not just coming up and down like this and using momentum. That's not really going to help very much. We're trying to strengthen the glutes and the hamstrings because that's going to help getting that stronger hip to protect that bursa there. So really just slowly kind of rolling up and then slowly rolling back down. Now again, you can modify the bridge a little bit. If you can't come all the way up into that straight position, which you might not for strength or because of pain, just try and get your bottom just off of whatever you're lying down on, the couch, the floor, or your bed, and then slowly come back down. So this is okay. You can do that by modifying it. And then again, try and progress it. So each day, see if you can go a little bit higher and then slowly come back down until you're eventually getting that full bridge. So you can do it for time. You can say, I'm gonna go for 30 seconds and see how many I can comfortably do, or just start off with 10 to 15, maybe 2 sets, and then slowly work up from there to really get it a little bit stronger. So then the next one is going to be a trunk rotation. So still kind of staying on your back, but now you're going to bring your knees and your feet together. And so it's kind of just like it sounds, you're kind of rotating to get a stretch in your trunk area. So I'm just going to bring my knees together and slowly go to one side and get a nice little stretch. You can either do this for an actual stretch and hold it for 30 seconds, or you can do it for an exercise and do just a little pause and then come back and roll to the other side. Now I'm getting a nice stretch through here, and then the other side, the same thing on this side. So again, you're trying to loosen up this area, because even if your lower back is a little bit tight and your hips are tight, that's putting pressure on that bursa. So this is a nice gentle way to kind of not only work that area if you want to just go consistently back and forth, but you can also just hold that stretch, and this feels really good, just really getting that nice stretch. So you can do both if you want to do both ways for the stretch and then do the exercises as well. You can do that. I'm going to just stay on this side, but this is going to be a sidelying hip abduction. So the leg on top is going to be the one that you're working. So, you know, we were working this left side. I'm just doing it so I can look at the camera this way. But the leg that you want to work is on top. And ideally with the hips or any kind of area of the body, working both sides is great, because a lot of times you're compensating a little bit for pain. So even the side that doesn't really hurt might be getting overworked, and we benefit from these as well. So if you have time to do both sides, I always recommend doing both sides. So the bottom leg, you can bend it up a little bit just to take some pressure off of it. Make sure you're lying down and you're comfortable. I'm going to prop up just a little bit because it's easier to talk while I'm doing that. But the key is you want your hips to be kind of perpendicular to the bed or the couch or the floor, whatever you're on. And then when I start to lift up this leg, I'm first going to try and get my leg nice and straight, and then see my foot here, I'm turning it down so my heel is facing up a little bit. When I go to lift, I'm leading with that heel and I'm going slightly behind me this way. That's going to really work the gluteus medius muscles, which sits right over where the bursa is in there. So this is a great exercise for that. But again, if my foot's just like this, you're going to feel the difference. You're still going to get a workout, but really turn and point that heel up and go slightly behind you and really control the movement. You can go faster, but make sure you're controlling it the whole time while you're doing it. And so that's getting that nice movement in there. Now the next couple exercises are a little more advanced. So if this one was kind of tough, go ahead and stick with those and work on those for a while. And then once you can progress, when you feel a little bit stronger, then you can move on to these exercises. So the next one is going to be in quadruped, and that's basically just what we call like on all fours. I like to call this the bird dog. Some people call it bird dog. Some people just call it opposite arm, opposite leg. So when you get into quadruped or all fours, you want to kind of make sure that your hands and your shoulders are in alignment so they're not too far this way, too far this way. And same thing with your knees and your hips. You want to be kind of balanced while you're doing it. Now, starting off, you might just want to kick a little bit with your legs and make sure that you can do that. The key is you're not coming up and turning while you're doing it. You want to keep your back fairly straight, and it's going to move just a little bit, especially if you're tight and you're stiff. But then when you kick, if I'm kicking my right leg out, I'm going to lift my left hand and arm forward. So I'm just going like this, kind of like if you see a dog pointing at a bird, that's what they would do. And then just switch sides. But again, if I'm going out and I'm dropping while I'm doing it, I'm probably not quite ready for it yet. You want to kind of make sure everything is staying, pretty level and steady while you're doing it, and then just alternate back and forth. So since that's a little bit more advanced, you would not want to start off with a whole lot of those. Maybe just start off with 2 or 3 on each side and see how it feels. Then you're going to lie on your side again. The side that you want to work is going to now be on the couch or the bed or the floor that you're on. So the hip area is going to be here. Now, again, this might be uncomfortable, especially if that bursa is really inflamed. So I understand people might not want to get into this position. But as I'm talking, you can start off pretty quickly if you know what I'm doing. So just watch me first and then see if it's something that you think you can do. So this is going to be a modified plank. So I like to start with my hips back a little bit because when I come up, I'm going to come up and come forward a little bit. So my knees are slightly in front of me. I'm going to stay on my knees. My elbow is in alignment with my shoulder, so there's not getting any weird pressure on that. And then I'm just coming up and forward, trying to get into a fairly straight line. So this is the side I'm working. This is where I'm feeling the work right there. And then maybe start off with 10 to 15 seconds. If you're feeling good, you can work it up to a minute, and then nice and slow coming back down. In your break period, you might need to lie over on your back so you're not putting all that pressure on the bursa. But again, these are a little more advanced, so you should be able to comfortably put a little bit of weight for a period of time on there. And then coming back up again, holding that as long as you comfortably can, and then coming back down. And then if you feel really good, then you could progress into a full side plank. So there you have it. Those are stretches and exercises for trochanteric hip bursitis. If you'd like to help support my channel, click on the link up there, and don't forget to subscribe. Where? Yep, down there. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.